We've heard about this term over and over again, red flags in a relationship. But what does this term mean exactly? And what are some of the red flags you might ignore early on in a relationship simply because their immediate effect cannot be felt till you get to the deep end of the relationship where you now start asking yourself, how did I get here? As they say, prevention is better than cure. And knowledge of this cunning and little talked about red flags is just but a step as you work towards avoiding being entrapped in toxic relationship patterns on your way to attracting your life partner. The first red flag is if you find yourself constantly apologizing even for no reason at all. I'm not saying that apologizing is a wrong thing, but if you find that sorry has become your word of the day, you've got to pause and think twice. You find yourself excessively apologizing even when you're not on the wrong, simply because you've been manipulated to think that everything is all your fault. We develop this habit simply because we want to avoid conflict and we are afraid of the negative consequences which will come about if we don't apologize to our partner. This leads us to developing a false sense of belief that we are worthless or unimportant and our opinions don't matter. We then lose trust in ourselves, meaning that we cannot see things as they are in the relationship, and this will make us stay in the relationship longer. The second red flag to watch out for is if you find that you cannot be honest with your partner. Early in the relationship, you may find it difficult to express yourself simply because every time you try to openly express your inner thoughts and feelings, you get shut down, ignored, and your feelings are invalidated. If you find that you have to lie or be dishonest so as to get along, then that's a red flag to watch out for. We may all have our unique reasons on why we withhold information from each other, but in a toxic relationship, it's mostly because we are afraid of our partner's reaction as they may lash out at us, ignore us, criticize us, which is so painful. The most important thing to note is if you find that you have to constantly lie so as to protect yourself, that's not a relationship which is worth investing your time on. The third red flag is when you find yourself being isolated from your family and friends and from the things you love. This may happen so cunningly and slowly, especially when your partner tells you that you have to do this so that you can spend more quality time together. I understand that at the beginning of the relationship, this may sound like a good thing, but it is a double-edged sword as you may be slowly isolating yourself from the things which will offer you support when things start getting sour. So you better watch out for that. Of course, a toxic person will not do this directly. They will not drive you away from your loved ones or from the things you love directly. They will do this in a cunning way by using statements like, you see, I told you that your friends are misleading you, or you either choose me or your family. Your family does not like me. They may also say something like, who does that? You have a weird taste in hobbies. Those are just some of the few statements they might use so that you question your sense of reality. I once worked with a client whose ex-boyfriend kept telling her not to focus on her career and just to stay at home. Her boyfriend told her that he would be the one providing, and even hanging out with her co-workers was not a good thing for the relationship. And that was isolation. The moment you get pushed away from even your co-workers, just know that that's not the best environment for you. I'm so glad that she managed to get out of the relationship and heal, and right now she's thriving in her career. Simply said, isolation is all about cutting us off from things which may offer us support once things start getting sour. Even if you want to build the relationship, at least keep your support network close. The last red flag is when they constantly provoke you to be jealous by them bragging about how every guy or lady wants to be with them. They intentionally do this so that you constantly doubt yourself, lose confidence in yourself, and become scared of losing them. This is a subtle controlling behavior, and you'll find yourself compromising on things you're not supposed to compromise on as you try to win them back. And that's not a relationship, that's more of a competition. Toxic people love this because it inflates their ego and gives them a sense of control over you. You might even find yourself trying to change your appearance so that you can outwit the perceived sense of competition. If you find yourself in this state, just know that you're not in a relationship and it's time to disengage. A relationship is supposed to be a partnership and not a winning contest. So here's the thing, if you keep ignoring these red flags early on in the relationship, you will keep attracting toxic partners in your life. And yes, the knowledge of red flags alone may not be enough to keep you away from toxic relationships, as some of them may happen so subtly and cunningly, instead that even the brightest of us may still fall for it. You may also cling on the hope that things will change, but as time goes by, you find yourself at the deep end of the tunnel where it now seems impossible for you to get out. And that's why it's good for you to learn how to honor your boundaries, trust your intuitions, and know when to say no when things are not feeling safe for you. That's it from me today. Thank you. Feel free to comment, share, and subscribe.